Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lucky Life podcast, where we create our own luck and design the life of our dreams. I'm your host, Melissa Merck. Let's dive right into the episode. It has almost been officially 1 year since I launched the podcast. My first episode came out on Christmas of last year, and it is now December 8th. 2024. So in a couple weeks, it will officially be 1 year of the podcast. And we definitely started out strong, posting once a week. The consistency kind of faded away and we haven't really been on top of it as much, but that is one of my goals for the next year, is to get back to the podcast. The very first episode that I recorded, the topic was goal setting for the new year and things you can do to up-level and become a better version of yourself. If you guys missed that, you can definitely go back and listen to the one that I recorded last year, but I thought we would revisit that topic, and I want to go over some of the goals that I set for 2024, see if we met them, did we not? Starting off with the goals that I didn't hit, I've had about 5 things on my goals list for the past, I don't know how many years. For some reason, I just cannot achieve these things. Some of these things are money goals, like having a certain amount of money in savings, paying different things off, how much I make a month, stuff like that. And then I also have certain numbers that I want to hit for following or like followers on different social platforms. This one isn't too important to me, but I think it reflects your success, and it does tie into finances as well. So they're definitely connected. Those are the ones that we have not hit. And then I have a lot of things on this list that I feel like I have made progress in, but I still want to continue improving in these areas. So I'm kind of checking them off, but they're going to roll into the next year as well. So one of these was keep up with a fitness routine. I feel like I was really consistent with working out this year. Another thing was stick to personal boundaries. That was probably my biggest area of growth in 2024, I would say. I also wanted to get better at cooking, and I've definitely cooked more at home. I've tried out a lot of new recipes. I would still like to get better in this area, but I think I'm just constantly improving. I wanted to launch an ebook or coaching. I've talked about this a bunch. I've been wanting to take on clients or launch a course or something. I still haven't gotten around to that, but I have launched 2 ebooks, which I don't talk about very often, but I'll link them down below. If you go to my website, it's just melissamerck.com. I do have a shop there, and there's a couple digital products. The first one that I launched is called Nourish and Restore, and it's a 4-week meal plan that's dairy, gluten, and sugar-free. This is to help reduce inflammation and help you identify if you have any food intolerances. It's basically an elimination diet for a set period of time. But anyways, there's a lot more information on that in the ebook. There's also recipes. And then I also have a period recovery ebook. It's basically a PCOS ebook. So even if you have like irregular cycles or you struggle with heavy periods, basically how to regulate your cycle, get that back on track, and essentially send your PCOS symptoms into remission. It's everything that I've done personally, things that I've learned through my schooling, and honestly just like over a decade of my own research. So I did launch ebooks. That was on my list, and I want to continue expanding my services. I've also gotten a lot better with keeping the house clean. This was one of my goals, was basically to have a more organized and clean space and just keep on top of that. It's actually Sunday today when I'm recording this, and Sundays have become my reset day. Every week I do a deep clean on Sundays. I honestly really enjoy it. I look forward to Sundays. I love having a clean home. I feel like I have a new appreciation for it. That's definitely something I want to continue into the new year, and I do think I could be a little bit more consistent with staying on top of things just throughout the week, but that was definitely an improvement this past year, or I guess we're still currently in 2024, so this year. And then pretty much every year I have a goal for clearing my skin, growing out my hair, regulating my cycle, and I've definitely made improvements in all of these areas, but there's still work to be done. If you guys follow me on my other socials, I experienced telogen effluvium this year. So basically my hair was falling out, and it honestly never got to a point where I really noticed it, but it just felt like another setback with my hair goals. But I've kind of come to terms with the fact that my hair, I think it's just genetic how my hair is, and it's mainly the texture that I struggle with. So I did end up getting extensions again this year, and I don't know how long I'll keep them, but I've really enjoyed having them. I have an appointment in a couple days to get them moved up, and I think eventually I do want to get them a little bit shorter, and eventually I want to get down to just one track or one row. I have 2 rows in my head right now. And my scalp has been getting dry and itchy, and I just miss being able to scrub my head. I feel like my skin has gotten a lot better as well. That kind of just goes along with health in general. I basically did regulate my cycle this year. However, if I fall off of certain habits, and it's like it really just comes down to lifestyle, honestly. So yeah, a lot of those will be rolling over into the next year. We're going to keep those number goals there as well. I want to grow my social platforms, make more money. I started writing up goals for this next year. So a couple things that I'm adding. One thing I want to do, I want to gradually phase out all my products that have endocrine disruptors. This is another thing that I could go more into depth on, but I get sent a lot of product for free. I have been more selective on what I accept, and I just want to get better at doing my research into brands before accepting product and looking at ingredients. If this is something that you want to do, what I'd recommend, instead of just going through and throwing out all your products, I think it's best to just phase them out. Like when you finish something up, look for a better swap. So that's what I'm going to be doing, because I don't want to be wasteful and get rid of stuff that I've already been using. I have already been making a lot of swaps. A big one I would say is laundry detergent, just because you're washing your clothes and your bedding and your towels and all of these things that sit so closely to your skin. So you are absorbing the chemicals, and a lot of these detergents have really strong fragrance in them. So I have swapped to, I want to say it's 7th generation. I think that's the brand that I have right now. There is no scent to it, which I'm a huge fragrance girl. Like I love smells. I feel like, I don't know, it's just like it's a sensory thing. Scents bring back memories. They can be comforting. Like I definitely love fragrance, but I just want to get better at picking better fragrances. But yeah, so now my clothes don't come out smelling like anything, which I kind of miss, but it's definitely better for you. If any of you guys know of any laundry detergents that have no endocrine disruptors but smell good, let me know. I definitely want to do more research into this area and just like finding the best of the best. Some other things I've swapped out are hand soaps, body wash, deodorants. What else? I do make a couple exceptions. For example, perfume. I don't wear perfume every day. So I do have a few that, I wouldn't say they're quote unquote clean. But honestly, if I can get it to where like 80% of my products are free of endocrine disruptors, that's good for me. I think if you're stressed out about your products and you're trying to be perfect, the stress over being perfect is worse for you than the product itself. Honestly, just like in this world that we live in today, it's really, really hard to be perfect when it comes down to stuff like this. But just making little swaps here and there, it's all a drop in the bucket. So that is a goal that I'm adding to my list. I also want to cut back on my social media intake and just be more mindful about what I'm consuming. I do think I have gotten better in this regard, but I still do find myself getting stuck just like scrolling through TikTok. Also, is TikTok actually getting banned? Apparently a bill was passed and it might be gone January 15th. So I'm very curious to see if that's actually going to go through or not. It is for the US. I'm in Canada, but I feel like things that happen in the States generally will come to Canada as well. And then it will just change the platform. Anyways, not to get into that. I'm just like curious to see if that'll happen. But yeah, just like mindless scrolling, which I actually skipped over this goal that I had on last year, but it was no social Sundays. I wanted to have one day a week where I didn't use social media at all. I think I did it a couple times, but maybe that's something we'll try in the new year. I think with most things, there's like a positive and negative side, and it's definitely true for social media. I think there's a lot of good and a lot of bad, and I think it really just comes down to balance and, again, being mindful. So I also wrote down pay off my mortgage. Realistically, I don't think that's going to happen next year unless I come across a very large chunk of money, but you know what? Never say never. You never know. I also wrote down monetize the podcast, which I definitely think is in reach. Spotify recently updated the platform, and I think you can actually monetize through ads that they add into your videos, kind of like AdSense on YouTube. And then I also post a video of the podcast as well. I don't know where you guys are listening to this, but I do have a podcast YouTube channel, which is not monetized, but I'm somewhat close to being able to monetize that as well. I think the money that would come in is going to be pretty minor with the amount of views I get on it at the moment, but I don't know, it would just be a nice little perk. And then I maybe want to move next year. I don't know. This has been something that I've been talking about for a while. I just don't fully know where I want to move. One thing I've really come to fully understand is that you cannot really plan your future or like predict your future. You can have an idea. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, next year, in 5-10 years. I've honestly never been someone to have a 5 or 10 year plan. I just like, it's never really made sense to me because I think I'm someone like I tend to change my mind a lot, or I just find, I don't know, my interests change, my mindset changes, and I've always been aware of that. So I kind of just like to do what I want to do at that time. I don't know. You just never really know what's around the corner. How did I even get to this? Were we talking about me moving? But anyways, with big life decisions, you kind of just have to make the best decision for you in that moment and see where it takes you. Like when I moved into the apartment that I am now, I thought I was going to be here for 1 to 2 years, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be in a relationship by then and whatever. I think I've been here for almost 3 years, and I've been single for almost 4 now. And that's just like, I didn't think that's how it was going to go, which is totally fine. Yeah, I ended up living in this apartment longer than I thought. I don't know. I don't even know where this conversation is going. But what I'm trying to say is I have no idea what my next move is. But I'm doing my best to not overthink it, because I think that's what I have done a lot recently, is being like scared that I'm going to move to the wrong place. But I don't think any move is the wrong move. You just have to make a move. And then from there, you figure out, do I like this? Do I not? We will see. I have different ideas. And then one last thing, I forgot to mention this because this was on my goals list for this year, and it was to drink less, and I definitely achieved that. I think my mindset and my habits around alcohol have changed a lot, and I actually recorded a podcast episode on this. When was it actually? Let me see. I feel like it was around this time last year where I was kind of feeling just like over drinking. Anyways, I was going to look up when I posted that podcast, but I'm pretty sure it was around this time last year. I don't remember what I said in my podcast about alcohol. You can go back and listen to that one too. Maybe I'm going to re-listen to that because I can't remember what my thought process was at the time. But I feel like I'm in the same place where, for me personally, it's not something that I've ever felt like I need to cut out completely, because I have a lot of positive associations with it, even though I know it's poison, it's bad for you. I'm very passionate about health, so I'm aware of the effects on the body and like the negative effects to your health, which is one of the main reasons why I decided to cut back on it. But for me, I associate it with like celebration, socialization, friends, family, fun. And as long as I'm drinking in moderation and not super frequently, I feel fine. It's just like every once in a while, if I go overboard, that's when I'm like, oh, I feel like I just destroyed my body and I get stressed out. And I think, again, I kind of touched on this, but I think the stress, like when I have a hangover, the stress about the hangover is worse than the hangover itself. Because I'm like, why did I do this to myself? Blah, blah, blah. That's definitely something I want to keep going into next year. I think I do want to cut back even more, but it's not something that I feel that I need to fully restrict. So anyways, that is the chit chat for today. I have a little bit more cleaning to do to wrap up my Reset Sunday, and then I need to edit this edit this podcast, and then I do have a vlog that I need to edit as well. But yeah, if you guys have any like topic suggestions or recommendations that you want for the podcast, let me know. I kind of want to do another Q&A, and I always post those question box on my Instagram, so make sure you're following me on Instagram if you want to get involved with the Q&A on the podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.